We're moving back right now because I don't know if you can hear it on this, but we have an active gas leak. We can show you the damage here at the federal courthouse. Now that things have died down, you can see there is glass on the ground right here. The doors, the windows shattered. This truck did a number on this house, going right into it. This is very much the definition of a developing scene. All of this happening just within the past 15 minutes or so. Now we do know a man is in critical condition following this crash. They are just towing his car away right now. That flew off the interstate here, just off 235. Photographer Robbie Rissman giving you a look. You can see where this car came off the interstate here, heading eastbound on 235. You can see all of the debris and damage. In fact, that car hit this other car. 1 week ago, you watched as Hurricane Ida tore through the Gulf Coast. Tonight, when it comes to recovery in hard-hit Louisiana, the question is where to begin. Today, I talked to the man who took that viral video here at the Conoco off 63rd, and later we found out that the series of crimes Poole's accused of began less than a mile south of here. Not terrible weather for football, and we eventually saw those gray clouds giving way to sunny skies today. So is that the sign of a warm-up on the way? Dr. Shaw says if you wear one of these cloth masks, now's a good time to start doubling up.
A lot of times weekend mornings I see the crew teams out here. They'd store their boats out here and they're just paddling across the lake having a good time.
But on Sunday, Roger Fritz saw something different across from his home near Little Wall Lake.
Right over on that point right there is where they pulled him out.
He watched as first responders searched in the water and from the air for members of the Iowa State University Crew Club after their boat capsized as they practiced on the lake around 9:30 that morning. A dive team found one student's body as crews continued their search for another into the evening. 3 other club members survived as residents living along the lake jumped in to help get them out of the water. Action's Hamilton County Sheriff Doug Timmons says were nothing short of heroic.
There were some people who took some risks that they didn't have to take and save some lives.
Timmons says authorities are still investigating what caused the boat to capsize, but did say lake conditions were not ideal.
At the time that the call came in, there was pretty good northwest winds. We're guessing anywhere from 20 to 25 mile an hour winds, and the lake was pretty rough.
Fritz says he has seen the club paddling in similar conditions before.
Today was not abnormal to what I would see them out practicing in.
In a statement, ISU President Wendy Winterstein said the community's heartbroken over the tragic accident, something Timmons says without the help of neighbors.
This could have been a lot worse.
Republican Senator Joni Ernst and her Democratic challenger Teresa Greenfield are on your screens commercial after commercial. So it's only fitting that we take another look at ads in this race. We'll start with an ad from the Ernst campaign against Greenfield with a law enforcement focus.
Being a cop these days is hard enough, so it doesn't help when liberals like Teresa Greenfield call us racist. That's
the police chief in Ernst's hometown of Red Oak. The ad also features Clell Bodler, a former Republican state representative and retired state trooper.
Greenfield says there's systemic racism in Iowa law enforcement. That's offensive.
All this goes back to comments Greenfield's made in debates. The commercial's big claim?
Just to impress the Washington liberals funding her campaign, she attacked police and called us racist.
But this big claim is a big stretch. In our KCCI Des Moines Register debate earlier this month, for instance, Greenfield outlined her beliefs on systemic racism. She did say there's systemic racism in law enforcement, but not just in policing. Take a listen.
Discussing systemic racism does not mean that any one individual is a racist, but rather that we have to take a look at the discrimination across our systems: housing, healthcare, education, finance, and so many other things, to ensure that we're doing everything we can to end that kind of racism.
So we're calling the ad mostly false. Greenfield has said there's systemic racism, but didn't just single out law enforcement or law enforcement officers, as the ad implies. At our debate, Ernst said she doesn't believe systemic racism exists in Iowa. She did say you will find racist individuals in those systems, but doesn't believe that entire systems are racist. Now let's take a look at an ad targeting Ernst. This one isn't from the Greenfield campaign. Instead, it's from a Democratic super PAC.
You won't find it here. Any help for Iowa from Joni Ernst. She's gone Washington now. After promising not to move to D.C., Ernst bought a luxury condo.
claim in the Senate Majority PAC ad goes back to comments Ernst made in 2013 on a WHO radio show.
I don't intend to go to Washington, D.C. and buy a big fancy house, relocate my family out there.
The ad references a Des Moines Register article about Ernst claiming an improper tax credit at the D.C. condo, something she says was a mistake, and repaid. $400,000 may sound like a lot here in Iowa, but according to smartasset.com, D.C. housing costs 79% more than it does in Des Moines. And $400,000 is actually below the median price of a D.C. condo, which according to curb.com is $483,000. Ernst maintains her primary residence here in Iowa. Members of Congress have to sleep somewhere while in D.C., so renting or buying is hardly uncommon. Continuing on.
And Joni Ernst voted to raise her own pay 4 different times. 4 pay raise votes. And we've already paid Ernst more than $1 million.
Ernst makes the standard Senate salary, $174,000 a year, and the alleged votes for pay raises were actually votes against spending bills. We'll show you one example. The most recent vote, the massive 2018 omnibus budget bill, contained a line that would prevent Congress from receiving an automatic cost of living pay bump. Congress has consistently blocked that raise since 2009. Ernst said she voted against the bill based on its cost. So claiming that Ernst voted to raise her pay by voting against a bill that happened to contain a pay freeze is rather convoluted logic. Overall, we'll rate this ad's claims significantly misleading. Chris Gothner, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's News Leader.
Dan James Richards of Creston, formerly of Winterset,
Was born June 3rd, 2002 in Des Moines.
The youngest of 4 children, born to Danny Joe Richards and Laura Jean Marie Miller.
Dan, little Dan, chose to take his own life on May 3rd, 2019.
It's a notice to the world about a loved one lost. The obituary for 16-year-old Dan Richards has much of what you might expect to read in a tribute to a young life gone too soon.
He attended his sophomore year at Creston High School,
which he was about to finish. In school, Dan was involved in choir, chess club, and football.
He was easygoing and so caring.
Dan touched the lives of so many, he didn't have a mean bone in his body.
But what makes this go beyond the mere public notice of a family tragedy
is it's the worst pain anybody could ever imagine.
And I'd just like a few words just to...
is the pointed message those who loved Dan included.
The family would like to note,
To the bullies out there who succeeded in making Dan feel worthless,
he wasn't. We really just want to raise awareness that it happened. It is what it is. We want to prevent other families from having to feel this way as well.
Dan's sister Mary says her family wanted to deal with bullying head on.
It's not just one place, it's everywhere.
As they grapple with denial, anger, and feeling blindsided.
We wish he would have talked to us about it more because we didn't realize how much of a problem it was until it was too late. I wish we would have asked more too, and I just wish people would have told us as well.
But as Dan Richards' family shared laughs, smiles, and their best memories of the boy they describe as the ideal teenager, they're reflecting on another part of their message towards those tormentors that goes beyond blame.
The family has no hard feelings toward you.
And you are forgiven.
Your actions are between you and God now.
Everybody deserves that second chance. It's not too late to change how you think about people, how you treat people, your perspective on life. God would want us to forgive them, so we have.
And as this family chooses to forgive, there's something they don't want any family to forget.
Just be caring and kind and talk to them, love them, cherish them. You never know how long you're going to get with your kids.
he had such a big heart and will be greatly missed.
In lieu of flowers, we ask that everyone be kind to each other.